Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear Reverend brothers and sisters, welcome to my another episode, and today I am going to discuss Dr. Faustus as an embodiment of the Renaissance. So let's get started. Dr. Faustus as an embodiment of the Renaissance. The age in which Christopher Marlowe composed his famous tragic drama, Dr. Faustus, was the age of full flowering of the Renaissance spirit. Renaissance, the revival of classical learning, new geographical discoveries, and more significantly, the rebellion against the medieval pattern of living and thinking dominated by religious dogmas and Christian theology, is the main source of stimulation of a human being. Christopher Marlowe, in fact, himself was the product of the Renaissance. Hence, it is but natural that Marlowe's great work, Dr. Faustus, reveals the main characteristics of the Renaissance. Even all the titanic heroes of Marlowe's great tragedies reveal some of the important characteristics of the Renaissance and Machiavellian doctrine of complete freedom to gain one's end by any means, fair or foul. The main ingredients, the main elements of the Renaissance spirit are individualism, worldliness, and humanism. Now, let's discuss these three elements and some other elements of the Renaissance in the light of the drama, Dr. Faustus. At first, individualism. What a man thinks is the best is the philosophy of this Renaissance element. The spirit of individualism makes Dr. Faustus an outstanding Renaissance figure. This spirit inspired Faustus to revolt against the conventional ideals and against God, and he also tries his utmost to build up his own fortune by his own hand. Faustus, with all his erudition and scholarship, with his abnormal pride and presumption, discusses in his very first monologue the merits and demerits of all the important branches of his study and has the great audacity to declare without the least hesitation philosophy, the odious and obscure, both law and physics, are for pettiwits, divinity of beast of the three, unpleasant, harsh, contemptible, and vile. 'Tis magic, magic that hath ravished me. So Faustus boldly asserts his individualism and raises the standard of revolt against the medieval restriction on the mind of a man. Secondly, worldliness. The main theme of this element is all the pleasures of the world. With this spirit of the Renaissance, the tragic hero Dr. Faustus is dominated by some uncontrollable passion for gaining some ideal of finding the fulfillment of some inordinate ambition. Sensual pleasure and love of beauty is the Renaissance spirit of worldliness. To Faustus, knowledge means power, which will enable him to gratify the sensual pleasure of life. After making a deed with Lucifer to be damned in the hell, Faustus requests Mephistopheles to get Helen, the most beautiful German maid, as his wife. Of all Marlowe's heroes, Faustus is the most poetic with his soaring imagination, with his passionate love for beauty and yearning for sensual pleasure, and the ecstatic quality, the vitalizing energy of Marlowe's poetical genius is magnificently to Helen in a lyrical outburst in the following lines. Was this the face that launched 1,000 ships and burnt the topless towers of Ilium? Sweet Helen, make me mortal with a kiss. So, describing the natural law of heaven, Dr. Faustus wishes to find heaven, to fill up the sensual desire with the hidden, intoxicated beauty of Helen. It is the expression of his worldly spirit of the Renaissance. And finally, humanism. Dr. Faustus seems to be inspired by Machiavellian ideals of a human conduct and human desires. Hence, the common moral conventions and the established religious sanction can never thwart him from striving to gain his end. As the black art, as the black art of magic fascinates him only because he will be able to gain limitless knowledge, and through knowledge superhuman power will be converted by him. Thus, the necromantic books become heavenly to him. Hence, he turns a deaf ear to the earnest appeals of the good angel and does not make delay to make up his mind when evil angel whispers to him, "Be thou on earth as Jove in the sky, Lord and the commander of these elements." Amusing by all allurement of the bad angel, finally, as a true flower of Machiavellian, Faustus discards God and defies all religious and moral principles. He sells his soul to the devil to master over all knowledge and to gain superhuman power. The boundless thirst for knowledge is another important element of the Renaissance. Faustus, a man of humble origin, acquires great learning and dismisses the traditional subjects of his study such as philosophy, medicine, law, divinity. He turns to magic in order to achieve eternal power. Besides the above elements, we also find some other Renaissance features in Dr. Faustus, namely nationalism, patriotism, craving for wealth and pelf, ardent curiosity, etc. Faustus inserts into the old medieval or Christian moral equation the new and ambiguous dynamic of the Renaissance. So finally, it can be said that Dr. Faustus is a true embodiment of the Renaissance spirit. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for your cooperation and coordination.